Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cold Bananas Show. I'm John Hanson,
I'm Michael Ollinger.
and in this episode, we're going to look forward to what we think will be the best movies of April, or at least the most anticipated ones. We're going to start with a movie that might be the raunchiest comedy since American Pie. It's called Blockers, and it comes out on April 6th.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one because there are a few reasons. The first reason that I was even paying attention to it is because as Leslie Mann, who is hilarious in everything she does, and WWE superstar John Cena, who as a kind of casual wrestling fan I like, and he's been good in everything I've seen him in. He's always been charming and entertaining, so I kind of wanted to see what he would do in this. But then the reviews started to come out, and the reviews have been very positive, and the reviews have been saying that this is a movie that is raunchy. It does belong to the ilk of American Pie and stuff like that, but it's without those films' sort of inherent sexism. This is from a female point of view, sort of unabashedly, and it is sort of a gross out comedy, but it doesn't trade on the type of stereotypes or sexist tropes that made this type of movie work, or that was the engine of this type of movie back in the 90s, back in the 80s and 70s and all that. So yeah, I'd say this is a solid on a anticipation scale. 1 to 10. Let's do 1 to 10 so there's more nuance there. I'd say this is about a 7.
Okay. Very much shifting gears here. Our next entry is a horror movie, and it seems like there's one of these every year. A movie that they say is going to redefine horror, do it differently than you've ever seen it before. It's called A Quiet Place, and it also opens April 6th.
Yes, and this one, I mean, the previews are very, very unsettling. The trailers do so much with so little sound, and just paint this interesting picture of this world. And so, I mean, I've always been like looking forward to it. Plus, it is a movie where I don't need to hear John Krasinski speak, which is the best way to see John Krasinski, really. If you've seen Leatherheads or anything else that he's done except for The Office, you know what I'm saying. And so and the reviews are rapturous for it. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes still, with 40 reviews. I think it has like a 7.9 average. I could be wrong. So yeah, this is the one. I always go see a movie Thursday night. And like Blockers is gonna wait because this is the one I'm gonna go see because it just seems unbelievable. And I'd say my anticipation on this 1 to 10, I'd put it at a 10.
Okay, up next we have a movie that I believe is based on an arcade game, and it looks kind of like Mighty Joe Young, except that he grows bigger. It's called Rampage, and it starts April 13th.
Yes, it does. Dwayne Johnson and a giant ape fight a big wolf and a giant crocodile. I've seen worse movies, but like my anticipation for this is not high. I'm going to go see it ostensibly to laugh at it. But the last time that I went to see a movie starring The Rock and directed by the guy who directed this film to laugh at it, I actually ended up grudgingly not hating the film. And that movie was San Andreas. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe despite the fact that this movie looks completely ridiculous, it'll turn out being okay. But, I mean, this just looks terrible. This looks like it could break The Rock's unbroken streak of huge hits that he's had recently. So, I mean, I guess I'll be there. I mean, I got nothing better to do, but that's, like, the reason I wanted to mention it on this list is because It seems like it will be somewhat big just on The Rock's name, but basically it's just there to fill time until the last movie we're going to get to. So I'll put my anticipation is probably about a 3.
Okay, that's a sign of a true movie geek. Low anticipation, but you'll still be there. All right, up next, a sequel to a movie that a cult classic that came out in 2001, Super Troopers 2, which premieres April 20th.
Now, yeah, I do want to see this movie. If I could, I'd see it right meow. I want to grab my liter of cola. I want to go to the theater. Want to sit down. Want to watch these guys just do their same ridiculous shtick. I've gone through, just in anticipation of this over the last few weeks, I've been watching some Broken Lizard stuff. I rewatched Super Troopers. I rewatched Club Dread even, which is pretty deep tracks. It's their least liked and least well-known film. I rewatched Beer Fest a couple of nights ago. Next up, I'm going to dig up the Slammin' Salmon, which went direct to video. It's their answer to Waiting. Waiting came out at the same time they were making that. And so, I mean, yeah, I am all in on this. I've been waiting for this movie for, like, almost 2 decades now. And so, yeah, bring it on. And what's weird is I wasn't looking forward to the first one. I got dragged to the first one and ended up liking it more than the person that dragged me. I can't wait. I will be there with bells on for this movie, and yeah, like the first night I can see it. So this is another 10 for anticipation for me.
Sometimes when there's a long gap between the original and the sequel, you know it's going to be good because they're doing it because they have ideas, not because they're forced into doing it. All right, up next, summer movie blockbuster season seems to be starting earlier every year. On April 27th, the 19th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie and the 3rd Avengers movie, Infinity War.
Speaking as a red-blooded geek with a pulse, and somebody who has seen every entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe multiple times, like, this just feels like a culmination of a decade of my geekdom. Like, this feels like something that's been building since Iron Man in 2008. And I can't wait for this movie. At the same time, I'm sort of dreading this movie because everything I've seen in the rumor mill seems to suggest that it's going to be a bloodbath. Like, the main characters that we've come to know and love are going to die, and not die in the cop-out Superman comes back to life kind of way, but, like, literally finito, like, no more. So, I mean, there's that factor as well. It feels like this has to be something huge and operatic, and carrying the entire weight of this huge franchise on its shoulders. And just to be able to see characters from some of my favorite movies finally interact with each other, to be able to see Star-Lord and Tony in the same scene, to be able to see all of these people fighting together or against each other, and finally getting to see Thanos do his thing. Like, there's a reason I think that this movie is expected to shatter The Force Awakens opening weekend. And it's because everybody's been looking forward to it. And, I mean, I would have to be crazy to say anything less than a 10, because literally when they were making Avengers Age of Ultron, then, like, the news was partially focused on that and partially focused on this. So, I mean, bring it on. It can't get here soon enough.
All right, thanks, Michael, for sharing your thoughts on April movies, and thank you for watching. We'll be back next time with another episode of The Colton and Show.